I just had a breakthrough picturing Paul driving his Tesla in that costume. It's just like, it's overwhelming. Wow, what a morning. I mean, Bonnie, what a lovely way to start the day. So much poise, so much elegance. What a great way of starting a journey together to start with that level of integrity and warmth. Carly, you sang that. I actually got moved during the national anthem this morning. I don't know about you, but I think Carly sang the living daylights out of that. It was gorgeous. Tuneful, respectful, putting your own little personal touch on it. That was great. Paul, it's so wonderful to see you do a speech of that length. I've never seen you do that before. First of all, that level of preparation, everybody, that's impeccable. The level of preparation it takes to do a presentation that long with that many slides, that organizedly, that respects you immensely, and the level of energy that the man puts into that, yikes, Paul, that was energizing. And then to see your son in his underwear, that was like really great. My day didn't start as well before. I worked all weekend in San Diego, and then I live in Boston, and so I flew home from San Diego, and of course flights delayed. It's the story of my life. And I landed in Boston yesterday in the wee hours of the morning, and you know what greeted me there. There was a little mini blizzard. The car service that picked me up at the airport, it was treacherous. I got home around 2 or 3. I stayed up till 4, unpacking the suitcase to pack it again. This is day 1 of a long road trip. I go Columbus, Houston, Columbus. That's my week this week. And so I got way too little sleep. So when that alarm clock went off this morning, I was shocked into reality. My day did not start off on the right foot. When my day starts off on the wrong foot, what I tend to do, how I break through barriers, because I have a show business background, I tend to fantasize about what the perfect day might be. Now, my perfect day is probably dramatically different from all of yours. My perfect day is one where everybody I meet, everyone with whom I come in contact, greets me warmly because they're engaged in a job that they care deeply about. Whether it's a guy who's painting a stripe in the middle of the road or a woman in a laboratory trying to cure a disease, and everyone in between, they all love what they're doing, and it shows. On this day, I go to my Starbucks in my little hamlet just outside of Boston, and the guy who's making my latte cares deeply about my latte. He measures the ingredients really carefully. He seems to have an investment in the fact that I get the jolt I need to start my day off on the right foot. On this day, not one, but both of my children call me. And not out of obligation, not because their mother told them to, not because they need money, but they call me because they're genuinely interested in telling me what they're doing. And what they're doing is good and noble and contributes to society and has something to do with improvement to either my home or my garage. On this day, my wife lands a 6-figure job, and some of you know my wife. And she comes up with a half a dozen ways to me to more effectively market my business. And she does this all while cooking a 5-course, low-carb, but delicious meal. My mother calls me on this day from heaven and actually spends the first 10 minutes of the conversation asking about me before she launches into her usual litany of maladies and ailments. Me, what do I do in this day? I go down local gym, I work out for an hour and a half, 45 minutes cardiovascularly, 45 minutes lifting weights. I take a luxurious sauna and steam, a long hot shower. I go home, I have 5 corporate clients, all of whom I motivate to greatness, one right after the other. I clean my office so I know where everything is the minute I need it. I write a chapter of my book, I adopt a starving kid in Ethiopia, and I teach my soft-coated Wheaten Terrier a new trick, which she learns immediately. Now, yes, indeed, that is a dream. But if it is a dream, how do we break through barriers to make that a reality? And the answer is what I call my program today. It's by being you on your best day every minute of every day. What I'm going to present for you today, yes, ways you'd upgrade formal presentations, like the one Paul did, like the one I'm doing now, when you have to speak to groups this size with preparation, groups larger than this with preparation, and certainly the myriad one-on-one, one-on-twos that you do in the course of a day that you're prepared for. Sure, I want to upgrade all of those. But equally important, if not more so, are all the other exchanges that you do in the course of a day that you're not prepared for. For instance, everything I've been listening to since I walked into this room last night. When you speak to groups this size without preparation, groups larger, and all those times you're speaking one-on-one, one-on-two without a lot of preparation. My conjecture about this team is that if you upgrade your communication and leadership skills, so will everyone who works for you, with you, above you, lives with you. Excellent communication and leadership skills are infectious. Do you folks all know who Arthur Miller is? Great American playwright. He wrote Death of a Salesman. He was married to Marilyn Monroe for a while. He said, we're ranking everybody every minute of every day. And it's true, isn't it? You're all sitting there right now and you're ranking me, you're evaluating me, you're judging me. What I'm saying, how I say it, what I look like, my clothing, everything. Well, right back at you. I have been doing it, I'm not kidding. I have been doing it since I walked into the room last night. And you see all these papers I have up here? These are notes that I have about all of you. I've been taking notes. Yeah, and let me tell you, it started with where I had dinner last night. I have learned so much about hugging cows. I have and Austin's already invited me to Michigan to hug his cows. Austin, you out there? Because I'm taking you out. Yes, sir. I'm coming to Michigan. Now, I do it because Paul pays me to do it, but everybody does it on some level. Guy down at the gas station, the woman at the supermarket, and certainly your employees, your customers, and your family members. My other theory about excellent communication and leadership skills is that they're muscular. Ooh, what the heck does that mean? Well, when I take a month off from the gym because I've hurt my lower back or my travel schedule is so extensive, and then I go back to the gym to do my curls, I have to remind myself to keep my elbows in, not to rock my body. Once I'm back in the swing of things, I don't think about that anymore. It just happens automatically. It's muscular. The same with excellent communication and leadership skills. You'll see later that I put a checklist in the packet to keep you honest, but you'll only need that for the first couple of weeks or so, because remember what the name of the program is. You on your best day. 2 you words. What I don't want to do today is come in here and try to change the 500 of you into something that you're not. No interest whatsoever. But rather what I am interested in doing is seeing what you all bring to the table in terms of communication and leadership excellence. How do I identify that? And how do I find what else is in your bag of tricks that's also excellent that you don't use as often? How do I get that to the forefront? And then how do we downplay the weaknesses? So by the end of the day today, I want each of you to walk out of here with a minimum of 2 ways to upgrade the way you presently communicate and lead. At least 2 ways to enhance your present communication and leadership package. Now, when Superman was reading my bio and he was saying that I'm an actor, director, I looked out, I was peeking out, and I saw some of you like rolled your eyes and said, uh-oh, Paul's been like smoking weed or something. Why is he having this actor, director guy come and speak to us today? So I can't tell what you buy in about actors, directors. So let me ask you this. I'm going to ask this question. What is a skill or talent that you think a professional actor needs to be at the top of his or her game? Any skill or talent. What do you think? Who said that? What's your name? Melinda. Melinda started us off with flexibility. Melinda, you rock. Thank you for doing that. And Melinda, did you see when I smiled when Melinda said that? You know why? When I was a young director, I didn't know that. In other words, when I was a young director and Melinda auditioned for me and she was good in the audition, I hired her. Makes sense, doesn't it? Maybe not. I might get Melinda to the workplace, and what she showed me on that audition is all she has up her sleeve. I taught directing for 15 years at Boston Conservatory. Why did I stay there so long? What was my passion? Well, I wanted those 21-year-olds to be better than I was at age 21 as a director. And Melinda, the #1 thing I taught them about choosing actors is what you said. Find out if the actor's flexible. Throw them a curveball. Because unless they're playing a small role in a movie, or if they have to sit in their pickup truck, roll down the window and wave, they're darn well better be flexible. And arguably, Melinda, you're talking about flexibility from role to role to role. You know, take someone like Dustin Hoffman as a case in point. Do you guys like him? 2-time Academy Award winner, by the way. What was his first Academy Award for? Rain Man's his second one. Tootsie gets nominated, doesn't win. Graduate, he gets nominated, doesn't win. I'll give you a hint. It was Meryl Streep's first Academy Award, too. Maybe you guys didn't see this movie. A movie called Kramer versus Kramer. A lot of people think Midnight Cowboy. Now look at the 5 movies you just rattled off. Graduate, he's in his 30s already. He plays a kid in his 20s. Midnight Cowboy, he plays a degenerate. Kramer versus Kramer, he plays a type A personality. Rain Man, he plays an autistic man. Tootsie, he plays a woman. So you see Melinda's point? Flexibility? Yeah, folks, we're not talking about actors today like Jean-Claude Van Damme and Lindsay Lohan. Okay? We're not talking about actors who make a lot of money from acting. We're talking about actors who make a lot of money from acting and are esteemed in their craft. And I agree with you, Melinda. All of those are flexible. What else? Who said that? What's your name, sir? Dale. Dale, wicked smart. Wicked smart in Boston language means wicked smart. Yeah, Dale, absolutely. Dale, we call that the ability to take direction. You know, I once saw, speaking of Meryl Streep, I once saw an interview with Meryl Streep. This was a long time ago. Now, arguably, Meryl Streep's the greatest actor that ever lived. 21 Academy Award nominations for acting. It's more than anyone on God's earth. And 3 wins. You only need 6 fingers to count the number of people who have won more than 2 Academy Awards for acting. And Meryl Streep's one of them. And I saw an interview with her a number of years ago. It was actually Nora Ephron's interview. Do you folks know that name? Women, you should especially know Nora Ephron, because she broke the glass ceiling for women in Hollywood. She was a screenplay writer and a director. You can count on one hand the number of successful female screenplay writers, on one hand the number of successful female directors. She was both. Sleepless in Seattle, When Harry Met Sally. She's passed away, but this was during Julia and Julie. Remember that movie when Meryl plays Julia Child? Millennials, do you know who Julia Child is? If you don't tell me, all right? Google it. Not now, later. So, do you know who Julia Child is? I'm so old. Do you have a shovel with some dirt, Paul? Just bury me here. The French Chef. She was a very large woman who was a French chef. Dan Aykroyd played her on Saturday Night Live. Do you know what Saturday Night Live is? All right, good. So, yeah, so this was during Julia and Julie. And Dale, to your excellent point, what the New York Times interviewer asked Nora Ephron with Meryl Streep sitting right next to her, she said, how do you give criticism to Meryl Streep? She's the greatest actor that ever lived. Don't you just shut up and let her do whatever she wants? Nora Ephron kind of rolled her eyes and she said, are you kidding me? She comes in the morning looking for it. She eats it up for breakfast. See, to your point, Dale, there's a group of actors I enjoy working with, and that's a group of actors that when you give them the criticism, they smile and they say thank you. I like these people. Another group of actors I enjoy working with, you give them the criticism, they take it immediately and use it to impact their performance for the better. The people who go to the top, the Meryl Streeps of the world, do both of those things. They smile, they say thank you, and they incorporate it immediately to impact their performance for the better. And Dale's right. We call those people the people who have the ability to take direction, to take criticism. Excellent, Dale. What else? What else? What other skills, talents? You go to a great play, a great movie. What does the actor do well? Who said empathy? What's your name? Bonnie? Oh, it's Bonnie. It's you. I can see now. Blinded by the light. Bonnie, I'm sorry. Empathy. You know, Bonnie, I had the pleasure to direct George Wendt in a one-man show. Millennial, do you know who George Wendt is? I'm going to die. I'm just going to die. I'm just going to die. So have you ever heard of a show called Cheers? Oh, I'm going to cry now. I'm going to die and cry at the same time. So, George, Google it. So, not now. So George Wendt was in this television show called Cheers, and I had the opportunity to direct him in a one-man show. Now, Bonnie, you would think in a one-man show you don't need empathy. Wow. Not only did George have empathy for me, the director, empathy for the playwright, it was a new work, empathy for the investors, they were ubiquitous nervous Nellies. He had empathy for the costumers, the grips. Yeah, I agree with Bonnie. All the people at the top of their game have a high degree of empathy, deeply empathetic. What else? Just 3? Just 3 things? Say again? Who said passion? What's your name, sir? Jacob? Jamie. That's my son's name, Jamie, and he has passion. Yeah, passion. You know, Jamie is super right. I had the opportunity to interview Ingrid Bergman. Oh, forget it, right? Not even a hope. You know, I was speaking. This is so great. I was speaking. What's your name, sir? AJ. I love you, AJ. I was speaking to a key executive group in New Mexico, and there was a guy sitting in the front. He looked kind of like you, just not as attractive. And he had this like dopey look on his face. And I turned to him and I said, you know who Ingrid Bergman is, right? And he looked at me and said, oh yeah, I've heard of him. And I suddenly felt like I was 185 years old. AJ, there was a century long ago called the 20th century. And there was this actress named Ingrid Bergman, and she won 3 Academy Awards. She's one of those 6 fingers. And AJ, I had the opportunity to interview her. Now, don't think I'm so old. I was fresh out of school, and I was developing career education manuals for the U.S. Office of Education. And the question I got to ask Ms. Bergman was, what one bit of advice would you give to someone who's just starting out as an actor? And she said, unless you can taste it when you wake up in the morning and nothing else will make you happy, don't do it. What was she talking about? What you said, Jamie. passion. Go flip burgers. Don't be an actor. Anything else? Who said that? Paul, is that a setup? I'm sorry, I couldn't see. Who said that? And what's your name, sir? Cody. Did you hear what Cody said, everybody? Think outside the box. And Cody, first of all, that's so respectful of Paul's theme. And guess what, Cody? It's right on the money. And Cody, that's so good, and I'm so desperate. I'm going to make those two separate things because what we call it, arguably it's a word that Paul just gave us that great definition for in that great little video, creativity. But also, it's the ability to take risks. So let's make these, even though they're related, let's make them two different things. So creativity, I love that little video, Paul, because creativity is so hard to define. I made a mistake with this early in my career. Early in my career, I directed a cute little boutique musical in New York City called Day in Hollywood, Night in the Ukraine. And Actors Equity Association, the union which governs stage actors, has a clause whereby if you get more remunerative employment, you can give you 2-week notice and walk. Well, my leading ingenue female, what's ingenue mean, everybody? Pretty young soprano. She got a better job day 2 of rehearsal, and she came in and gave me her notice. Now, with all due respect to her, everybody, that's not a category that's difficult to replace in New York. So I wasn't about to keep her around for 2 weeks. It would be way too close to opening. So I let her finish the day, gave her a severance. By day 3, I had the new actor in. Well, folks, in 2 days of rehearsal in professional theater, you cover a lot of ground. So I wanted to be respectful to the new actor. I didn't want her to merely replicate what her predecessor had done. So when she came in, I said to her, look, Leslie, today it's all about you. You have the script. Here are the other actors. Here's the furniture. Here's the world of the play. Do whatever you want. Be creative. Think outside the box. You can do whatever you want. We're going to follow your creative leads. And she looked at me and she said, okay. About 20 minutes into rehearsal, she turned to me with tears streaming down her face. And she said, can't you just tell me what to do? And I proceeded to tell her what to do for the rest of the rehearsal period. Now, she did a good job, everybody. She's still working in New York. She's making about $1.65 a week in the small professional theater. She's got these first 4 things you said, but she's missing the Cody piece. All the people at the top of their game are deeply creative. And then Cody, why I say risk-taking, because that's, when you talk about breaking through barriers, it's just so pertinent. You know, if you had given me perfectionism, Cody, I would have not accepted it. Because I've made that mistake before. I've cast perfectionist actors. So if Jennifer's a perfectionist actor, if what happens is, in day 1, I hand her the marker like this, and she takes the marker. When she goes home and she rehearses, oh, I take the marker from Michael like this. Oh, and she rehearses it over and over again. The day I put the marker over here, she has a hissy fit. Because I wrecked her, not you personally, Jennifer, this is hypothetical. So because I wrecked her incredible choreography. No, actors at the top of their game eagerly go outside their comfort zone. And to resonate what Paul said about you, they fail regularly. In fact, when I hire a perfectionist actor, I know I'll always get a good performance, but what will I never get? A great performance. I'll always get B, B minus, B plus, but that person will never go to the mountain because they've never experienced failure. And so, to me, Cody, your answer is really both of these things. This is an excellent little top 6 list. A little offended no one said intelligence, but clearly there are New York Yankee fans in the room. That would explain it. Have I mentioned yet, Paul, that the Boston Red Sox have won 4 World Series in the 21st century, including this year? Have I mentioned the New England Patriots have been in 9 Super Bowls in the last, winning 6, and the only 3 they lost is because A, God is a New York Giants fan, and B, because God and Satan teamed together to put a hex on the Patriots defense last year. Let's just be honest about things, okay? Who said the cheat word? Who? Who said it? This table? Yeah? Are you from Indianapolis? Was the ball a little soft? Yeah, so it was a little soft for you. So what, let me see your name tags, because you're going to be skewered. John, yeah. Yeah, I'm very upset about it, because what happened? They pumped the ball up really hard, and Tom Brady scored double the amount of points in the second half and never lost a game for the rest of the whole season with the hard football. So, John, stop whining about your soft football. I tell you, it's like, Patriot haters. I have the black pen in my, do I see a Red Sox hat? Look at that man, most intelligent man in the room. I have the black pen in my hand. What if I ask the question this way? What skills or talents do you need to be outstanding in what you do every day in your job as a business leader? If I ask the question that way, which one or ones of these six, flexibility, the ability to take direction, empathy, passion, creativity, risk-taking, do you want me to cross out with the black pen because you have no need for them whatsoever in what you do every day? Do you agree, everybody? Yeah, I have to put the top right back on the black pen. So what I just did, folks, is a very long journey to explain why Paul is not nuts to drag this Boston actor guy halfway across the country to work with you today. It's the exact same skill set. Notice none of you said tap skills, screaming at the top of your lungs, making funny faces in the camera. That's not what great actors do. They do these things. As long as you understand that, you are actors. You are acting from the minute you pull your car in the parking lot in the morning. I was thinking that last night because I came in and I said, wow, you know, let me save Paul some money. I won't go to dinner. Let's see if I'll have a little mini hors d'oeuvre. And I came in, it was like, I thought you were feeding the horses and the cows. There was so much delicious food here. So I'm you know, eating away. And then all of a sudden I sit down and there's Sarah and Caitlin at my table. Where are Sarah and Caitlin? Are you together? You still here? Yes, I see you right in front of me. So what did I do? I kicked into gear. I began my evening. That's what I'm asking you all to do every single day. Kick into gear. Have you ever seen the movie All That Jazz with Roy Scheider? It's a good renter, everybody, if you haven't seen this. Roy Scheider passed away a number of years ago. He, too, was nominated for an Oscar for a movie called All That Jazz, where he plays Bob Fosse, the great theatrical director, choreographer. Now, Fosse was a genius, but he had a little trouble in his personal life. He was a womanizer, alcoholic, chemical abuser. So when his alarm clock went off in the morning, it was tough for him to get going. So he'd drag his sorry butt out of the bedroom, into the bathroom, look himself in the mirror, and you know what he said to himself every day to get himself going? It's showtime. It's showtime. And the same with you, it's showtime. And you talk about breaking through barriers, I'm going to treat my time with you today almost as if we're an acting class. And some of you are going to wish you were back home with the feed and the cows and the horses, because we're going to continue to push you outside your comfort zone today. So let's open those books that the folks prepared for you. And you see in the middle, I have this thing called 35 Secret Weapons, Help You Be You in Your Best Day. And let's explore a couple of those in our limited time that we have that you did not put on the list. And look what I put first, everybody. Energy. You know, I think it's so important. I read it first. I read it 3 times. I put an exclamation point. Jamie, that's why I was so glad you gave me passion. You know, there was a survey taken of leaders in our country asking you all what it is that you look for in the people that you surround yourself with. It was a multiple choice. You could say education, experience, honesty. All those things were very, very important. Number 1 by a landslide was energy and enthusiasm. You want to be surrounded by a life force. Well, you know where I'm going with this, everybody. That's what you're looking for. You pick the cliche. You got to walk the walk and talk the talk. And the minute you go to this place, where I have seen one of you out there go already this morning, this place right here, someone sees you. As long as it's all right for your people to go to that place, you keep right on going to that place. But if you're demanding more from your peeps, you got to put out more. Now, am I asking you to be energetic every moment of every workday? Am I? Unfortunately, I am. Yes. See, are you aware, folks, that when you walk into the store, you walk into the building, that all eyes go to you? People talk about what mood you're in a given day. They talk about what you're wearing. They talk about who you said hello to, who you didn't say hello to, who you said hello to by name, who you didn't say hello to by name. You're rock stars. You can't take that lightly. Now, sure, we all have down times, but if you have a downtime, you got to do what Steve Martin does on the set of Pink Panther 2. You got to go in your trailer and close the door. But if you're dealing with me, a customer, your employee, your life partner, your child, Bonnie, it may not sound very empathetic, but nobody really cares about what you did 10 hours ago, 10 minutes ago, 10 seconds ago. You don't really care about my lack of sleep. You don't really care about my tendinosis in my right ankle. You know, you don't care about my vocal problems. It's not that you're not nice, compassionate people. You are. But if I use those as reasons for obfuscating my excellence today, stay home. Hey, Pete, let's get a handheld mic and let's send it all around the audience and let's everybody tell us what your physical problems are today, your emotional problems, your spirit. We all got them. They're all real. But unless you're willing to exonerate the people who made your omelets this morning and made your eggs, maybe they bumped their knee this morning. Maybe their boyfriend dumped them. So they accidentally slipped arsenic into the scrambled eggs. Well, I can't be. Then you can't exonerate yourself. You know, another way of looking at this, folks, I have a client in Southern California called Metagenics. Any of you ever heard of this company? They're like you, except for people. They manufacture vitamins and food supplements. And a lot of my coaching base there are physicians who speak to other doctors all over the world about the Metagenics program. And one of those doctors said this recently to me about energy. He said, you know, Michael, it takes more energy to hold your body with less energy than with more energy. You follow that double talk, everybody? In other words, if I did this, if I said, okay, oh, sorry, Paul, I went to bed so late last night. Today I'm going to give you some of my 35 secret weapons. Hey, Jennifer, how you doing? To help you be you on your best day. John, go Patriots, brother. Yeah. That horror show that I just did, according to the doctor, actually utilizes more energy than if I said to you, okay, everybody, today I'm going to give you some of my 35 secret weapons to help you be you on your best day. So not only is it your ethical responsibility, not only is it inspirational, but you're actually lubing the muscles. You have more energy at the end of the day to sing, dance, take a walk with your kids. You know, a big problem I have with a lot of my client base is I see them expel a lot of energy all day long, and then they go home and they give their families nothing, their partners nothing. And I used to think this was because of the gross expulsion of energy all day. The doctor convinced me otherwise. He says it's because we're erratic and sporadic with our energy. In other words, I say, ooh, AJ's an important client. I'm going to put out for him. Ah, Jamie knows me. I don't have to put out for him. Ooh, Paul's an important client. I'm going to put out for him. Oh, Stacy knows me. I don't have to put. No, what the doctor said is all of God's children are equally important. But doesn't that most especially include whoever's waiting at home? Don't they deserve the lion's share? You continue to put out when you get home, you hit the pillow, you pass out. Those of you who, it's true. Those of you who work out regularly, answer me this. Are you more energetic at the beginning of the workout or the end of the workout? Does anyone work out? It's the end, it's physics, y'all. Yeah, energy begets energy. Lethargy begets more lethargy. You know, Paul, I don't remember if before or after I met you this has happened, but I met Paul at a Vistage meeting, which is the largest CEO enrichment company in the world, where I speak at these monthly meetings. And this was in Los Angeles. It was my first time at this meeting. And you sit in a big horseshoe. And what they do at the beginning is they all go around and talk about what's happening in their personal life and their business life. And the chair asked me to sit in on that to see if I could make it better. And it's going around the horseshoe, and I was sitting pretty much where you are, Paul, and it was going around, and Stephanie, it got to about the guy where you are, and the guy turned to me and he said, Michael, before I speak, full disclosure, I want to tell you that 6 weeks ago, my 13-year-old son committed suicide. Guys, I got the biggest lump in my throat. I started to well up. He started sobbing profusely. He recovered, broke down again, recovered again, and finished beautifully. And can I tell you, folks, this man was the single most energetic and committed person to me in the room. I spoke for 3.5 hours that day. He's hired me twice. I've worked with this company in LA since then. Both times, same thing. The single most energetic person in the room. First time I went there, he brought his 17-year-old son. Imagine losing your kid brother that way. Exactly the same as his dad. And folks, I remember the day I went to that meeting. It was one of those weeks that we've all had where I had 4 or 5 consecutive nights of less than 4 hours sleep. And I was feeling sorry for myself, saying, woe is me. Really? The day you think your problem is the biggest in the room, think again. I like to think there's always someone who's shown up. There's someone who worked very hard to get here to this meeting today, gave up a lot of things. So I need to show up and shut up. And that's what I'm asking you to do. 2, focus and concentration. Very surprised you did not put this on your top 6 list here. If Paul had hired me to do a week-long acting seminar with you guys, and by the way, you'd all benefit from that, I'd spend the first half day alone on focus and concentration. It's that important. It's what we call in theater being in the moment. Athletes, what do we call in sports? Being in the what? In the zone. Remember when the Olympic athletes were interviewed, how'd you win the gold medal? I was really in the zone. All that means is focus and concentration. It means if Johnny and I are doing a scene in a comic play, and we're playing the scene and the audience laughs, we don't look out and say, oh, that was funny, ooh, and get back into it. We stay in the moment. Stacy and I are doing a love scene in a movie. Why is that so funny to this table? There's probably a boom mic over our head, a camera person in our face, script supervisor right next to us. Stacy and I have to stay in the moment in order to make the scene. Who said believable? Who's the smart person? Yes, thank you. Let me see, I can't see your name. Allison, wicked smart, Allison. Yeah, so the word that trumps everything, oh, can I say that in this group? I think I can. Yes, trumps everything on this list is that word believability that Allison just said. Do you see, their flexibility makes them more believable. Your ability to take direction makes you believable. Your empathy. Bottom line is you have to believe the performance. If you didn't believe the performance, you wouldn't even sit in your seat. If I gave you a bibliography right now of all the great acting books ever written, they all have the same title. Acting is Believing, The Honest Actor, The Real Actor. Look up acting in the dictionary, folks. It says nothing about pretense. Oh, some Webster's has as the 5th or 6th preferred definition. Latin scholars in the room, what does acting mean? It's from the same root as action. It means to do, to perform, not to pretend. You know what we call actors who pretend? Unemployed. We don't hire them. So we are going to be coming back to that all day long. The people who do the breakout sessions with me, we're going to come back to that over and over again. You know, and you, focus and concentration is the key to the city. And Paul, what I have to tell you, because I haven't been able to chat with you about this, is that I am super impressed with this group in terms of focus and concentration. Specifically, last night, I watched how people were committed to their conversations, how many people were just off by themselves with their phones. Very few. And this morning, you think I can't see back there? I can see. I can see. I can see back there. And what I have to say is there's a minimum of people talking when I talk, reading when I talk. The 500 people in the room, that's remarkable. And I'm really impressed about this thing. You know, let me ask you something. If when Superman introduced me today, I put my phone down like that, you know, I just had it like that, what message do I send you by having my phone on the table like that? Because some of you do have your phone on the table. What message do I send you? Yes. You know, I don't get to work for Paul that much, and I have clients who hire me every month, and I need to be available for them if they call me. And besides, Peggy took Bridie to the groomer today, and she's sending me a picture of the new grooming, and I have to approve it. No, no, no. What I tell my construction clients, my financial planning teams, people go into other people's buildings and present, leave this in the car. You know, you need Google capability to be in the building. Folks, every psychologist from here to Timbuktu will tell you, if that's on the table while you're having a conference with your child, your client, your employee, your customer, your life partner, they're going to feel devalued. And my visit with you today, you know, breakthrough barriers, today isn't just about your excellence. The barriers, we forget that it's our responsibility to make other people excellent. That's what leaders do. And if the focus and concentration I've seen in this room today and last night is endemic of how you generally behave, bravo. Now, people are going to walk around your feed store saying, wow, what great focus he has. Man, is her concentration good. What they will say is, man, oh man, does she respect you. Man, oh man, does she offer you dignity. And when they feel that way, they produce more. Even though a recent article negated this, it is generally believed that the #1 reason why people leave jobs in America is what? No, believe it or not, it's not money, and it's not geography, and it's not job description. Yes, when believable, authentic interviews happen, to go back to Allison's word, what most of God's children will say is they're leaving because they did not feel valued by their immediate boss. And for someone AJ's age and millennial, put an exponent next to that. Someone my age, you don't value me? Well, I might stay. Where else am I going to go? I'm close to death. You know, AJ, he's hot. He can go wherever he wants to go, you know? I can't believe you laughed when I said AJ was hot. It's just not nice. You know, I'm going to share with you, Paul, an addiction. I don't usually share addictions, but I'm going to share an addiction with you because I love Paul so much. And this is an addiction that only happens when I'm here in the middle of the country. I am addicted to Culver's. This is very embarrassing. Very embarrassing. And Well, yeah, easy for you to laugh, Cheryl. You have no body fat. But for me, look, butter and burger at one time, oh, baby. And what people don't know is that these Hertz rental cars that I drive all around North America, Hertz puts a homing device in them that automatically makes the car turn into a Culver's when you pass one. It's remarkable this happened. And I had a gig in Madison, Wisconsin. I landed at the airport. I got in my Hertz rental car. And right when you leave the Madison airport, there's a Culver's on the left. And so my car automatically pulled into the Culver's. And before I knew it, I had a frozen custard in one hand and a Butterburger in the other. And I sat down to enjoy my feast. Right after I sat down, a mom and her little girl, and Sarah, I'd say the little girl was Dalen's age, you know, about 10 years old, you know, that 3rd or 4th grade delicious energy of a child. And the little Dalen girl had her soccer gear on, and they were really celebrating something. The mom brought her frozen custard. They sat at the table near me. The mom's back was to me, but the little girl was facing me. And this little girl, you want to talk about energy? She made Paul look low energy. I mean, first of all, she could not put her butt in the seat. Her little butt was waving. Her head was bobbing. She never stopped smiling. Her ebullience was infectious. And the mom was sitting there like this. And I said, I know what that mom has in her lap. So I decided my Butterburger needed a little more ketchup. So I could go to the ketchup kiosk and look over her shoulder. So I went and looked. Sure enough, she had an iPhone in her lap. So I started pumping the ketchup, saying, okay, don't make value judgments. There's probably a family emergency. Maybe a cow needs some feed right now. And so I finally took my heavily ketchuped Butterburger, and I went back and looked over her shoulder. You know what this woman was looking at? Well, all I saw, Stace, was a vertical stream of clothing. And she wasn't even shopping. She had kind of this diffident look on her face. And the little Dalen girl, I'm not exaggerating this part of the story, this little girl whose effervescence was palpable, she went from here to here to here to looking at the wall to running her fingers down the wall and eventually misbehaving and altering the picture on the wall. And I thought to myself, how many wonderful moments is this mom going to have with this child that she's willing to sacrifice a single one? Be careful of the message that you send with this. You know, I can stand here and say, oh, Paul, I have so much respect for you and your, hold on. Yeah, I just have to answer this. Really? I'm going to say that, and to go back to Allison's word, who the heck's going to believe me? You know, last night it was just joyous to be able to have dinner with all of you. Often I land in a city and I don't have time to connect with a client, or I don't connect with a friend in that city, and I'll go out to a nice restaurant and have dinner by myself. And I don't know about you, but when I have dinner in a restaurant by myself, I like to observe behavior. And invariably, there'll be a couple out for the evening, and both members of the couple will be on their iPhone. And, you know, now I like to be creative. You know, if we Cody, we go with creativity. And I think, well, if they're AJ's age, maybe they're sexting under the table. Isn't that what you people do? I have no idea. Nope, they're just... AJ saying, yep, I once did it with a cow. As I am. You're so adorable. It's like, can you just be at everything that I speak at? You're so cool, AJ. Be careful of the message that you send with this thing. You know, be intentional. If you want to be rude and disrespectful, fine. If it's that's your intent. But if it isn't, think about it. And so for the half a dozen of you that I see, you know, you had your phones out when Paul spoke, when I'm speaking, think about the message at that sense. And that's what's so impressive, Paul, is that with a group this size, like you can count on one hand the number of people who are doing that. That's about honor. That's about respect. That's what focus and concentration does. You want to break through barriers? Let me tell you, a lot of the barriers we put up is because we're not focusing and respecting one another. We have a few minutes left. Let's look at 4. Eye contact. What I also loved about watching Paul and Bonnie, what they did with their presentations today, this is a big room. What I saw both of you do, Bonnie and Paul, was you tried to look at everybody in the room. You didn't say, oh, good, we have the iMac camera. Well, everyone will be able to see. I saw you making an effort trying to look at people. Yeah, folks, the eyes are the gateway to the soul. Leo Tolstoy, the great Russian playwright novelist, says the eyes are the windows to the soul. So when you look someone in the eye, you make a very specific human connection, and you never want to shortchange that. And so that's something I'm asking you to think about, is to always eye contact people. You want to break through barriers, look through a person's eyes. you know? And I don't care how many people are in the room, you know? So I have 500 people and I'm speaking for 50 minutes, I try. I think, you know, this guy in St. Louis said to me, no, you don't try to eye contact everybody in the room when you have a big room. You focus on the horizon. Yeah, if you're trying to motivate the horizon. I don't understand that one. No wonder why St. Louis has the highest crime rate in the US. They're all focusing on the horizon. And they lost the World Series twice in the 21st century. To whom? The Boston. Yeah, see how this is beautiful? This is, yeah. The other thing a lot of people do is the eye contact scan or sweep. You know that one? I have a house on the coast of Maine. So what does that mean? I go up there a lot on weekends. So what does that mean? I go to church there a lot. So the first time I went to church there, I sat in the pew. Pastor was homilizing. I said, look at him go. He seems to be getting everyone in the room. He didn't have to get me, though. I said, well, it must be where I'm sitting. So second Sunday, I moved over here. He did it again. I'm saying, look at him go. He's getting everyone in the room. He didn't happen to get me, though. I said, well, it must be where I'm sitting. So third Sunday, I changed my seat, moved over here. He did it again, still didn't get me. Fourth Sunday, I sat a little closer, gave him a crabby look. He still didn't look at me. Fifth Sunday, I sat in the front row, smiled and waved. He still didn't look at me. Why? He does this thing called the eye contact scan or sweep, which puzzles me because I see priests, ministers, rabbis, professional speakers doing this all the time. It's like putting whitewash on the fence. Yes, you cover the whole fence, but with no special detail, and subsequently no one feels particularly valued. Now, thank you guys, you know, for not saying to me, no, Michael, you don't try to eye contact everyone. You break the room into sections. You know, I call this the furniture store method because you're breaking the room into sectionals. So the theory behind this one is that if I look at Paul, then Cheryl and Paul Jr. feel valued because they're in the same general vicinity as Paul. And Cheryl and Paul Jr., what a pleasure to meet both of you today, both such charming, intelligent. See what's happening here? Not only do Cheryl and Paul Jr. not feel at all valued by what I'm doing, Paul's starting to hate me a little bit. Yeah, so that's better than this thing. But now we do what's right, which is you try to eye contact everybody. Okay, 500 people, 50 minutes, maybe I won't get everybody, but if I try, I might actually get 70, 80, 90%. And, it's the same book that says you break the room into sections, says in order to make eye contact with somebody, you got to look at them for 4 seconds. Let me show you what 4 seconds looks like. It's creepy. Nor am I saying do a poultry imitation because Recedes. Now, Allosso say you got to look at everybody. Here goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I got him. No, but folks, whatever's in the room, what do you like better? 80%, 20%, 0%. Your job is to make every single human being walk out of there saying, I thought she was talking to me. I thought he was talking to me. I'm not in favor of tricks or throwing in the towel. I'm only in favor of what Allison gave us a long time ago, really doing it. Go all the way to number 35, because I want to be respectful about time. We're going to visit all these things in the breakouts in more depth. But look at what number 35 is, everybody. When you talk about breaking through barriers, people should be better off as a result of having spent time with you. The theme 3 years ago was vision. This is my vision. This is what I live for. So vision for me is the thing you want to put on your tombstone. This is what I want on my tombstone. I want to think that every single human being with whom I came in contact was better because they met me. What if you carried that with you as well in this next year where Paul's saying, break through those barriers and report back what barriers you're breaking through? Even if you're firing somebody, even if you're telling someone bad news, what if you said, I want this human being to be better because they met me today? You think of how much better all those interactions would be? And I started with show business. I wanted to end with show business. Do you guys know who Irving Berlin is? AJ, I'm sure you don't, but you know, it's like, he's a great American composer. He wrote White Christmas, God Bless America. That's why I did this in red, white, and blue. That's what Irving Berlin said. The toughest thing about success is that you've got to keep being a success. Talent is only a starting point in this business. You've got to keep on working that talent. Someday I'll reach for it, and it won't be there. Now, I don't say that as a downer, everybody. I say that as a warning against complacency. What's one of the biggest deterrents to success, do you think? Remember what Paul said? It's not failure. I love that graphic that you have, Paul. It's not failure. I can give you 10 Vince Lombardi quotes, the second greatest coach ever in the NFL, about failure. How failure... Thank you for paying attention. How failure, so many Buckeyes everywhere you go. how failure only makes you better. No, it's success. It's all those trophies on my mantle telling me what a great speaker I am, kiss of death. You know that cliche, if it ain't broken, don't fix it? It's a bad cliche. It's not how you break through barriers. It's how the competition goes right by you. When I pray at night, after I pray for world peace, all the things I'm supposed to pray for, you know my big personal prayer is? I say, please God, do not let me croak until I use all the gifts you've given me. I think I'm immensely gifted in a lot of different ways. What my frustration is I might leave this earth before I use all those gifts, and I don't want to. What I'm going to try to point out to you all day, everybody, is what your gifts are, what your excellences are. What I'd like you to think about is what gifts are lying under your Christmas tree that you haven't opened lately, or maybe that you've never opened. As a parent of a child, partner in a relationship, leader in a business where your leaders care so deeply about you, they give you a program like this, it's not only nice to open those gifts, it's your ethical responsibility. I want to thank you for your attention. Some of you, I'll see you in the breakout sessions or the breakthrough sessions. I love that. For the rest of you, I wish you every blessing as you go forth 2019, both personally and professionally, and I sincerely do hope our paths cross again in the future. Thank you all, everybody. Appreciate it. Thank you.